hopefully you should have had a bit of a brain break and you're ready to get back into looking at design now. So this video, we're going to be looking at making sure you download these two documents, Evaluation Criteria and Visual Design Final. I took students through this activity last year and they found it very useful. It helped them with one of the criteria they have to look at, which is evaluation. How do you create two different designs, therefore, and how do you evaluate that? Comes back to the question I asked at the start: how could you tell if the designs are successful? I'm going to take you through something that I've been doing in my own house, and I've been toying with and been experimenting a lot with. And it's this. I created a solar heater at my house in Reservoir. What I've done is I've got a big box. There's aluminium cans in here. What happens here is that the air comes in the bottom. It comes all the way up to the top. The sun hits it, it gets hot, and then hot air gets pumped back into my house. It actually works. It takes the chill off the rooms. And now I want to get to a stage where I create an app to control how fast the fans, there's a fan here, how fast those fans will actually work. So that's an idea I've got. So I've designed 3 different ways to build an app to control a little fan controller that will control the amount of air travelling through. And I'll just want to take you through that now. Alright, so now I've explained this, I'll go through some of the ideas I've got with that. So the first idea I came up with was just creating a little screen, just a little LCD screen. It's got 16 characters this way and 2 columns, and I thought I could just use for control just the buttons that come with the screen. So then I've talked about what the inputs would be and what it would actually show. So there's one little design. I could then go to the next page, which would record the maximum temperature in any day and the minimum temperature. And I've got an explanation of what that does. Then I want to work out how much energy I'm producing, so I've created another little screen to do that, and I've described how I can do that. Now that's using just a very cheap LCD screen. Now the advantage of doing that, it's not hard to produce this. I could do this with some fairly simple coding. Now this one here, that's the last screen of that. And these are the other screens of that. So that's using an LCD screen. And I've actually detailed what's going on in each screen as well. So I'd like you to come to this level of detail when you produce your app. Then I come up with a different idea, and this idea was just using a screen. So the option 2 is using a screen that's 3.5 inches wide. So this would sit on the outside of my house. And this would actually have the temperatures coming in, mid and out in one column. I'd record what the minimum temperature is for one day and what the maximum temperature is. I'd look at the current fan speed, and I'd actually have the total duration of how long it's been on for. I've got like a little buttons here. I could go to between different screens. I could have a couple of graphs that would show me what's going on. And then I could actually control with sliders what the temperature should be. So when would the fan actually come in? I'll be able, if I put a different type of fan in, I could actually adjust this as well. So that's my second design. The first design is using little LCD screens. Second design was using a little 3.5 inch monitor. And the third design is creating some sort of either iPhone or creating some sort of Android app, smartphone app. So here I've got one screen. It would look something like this. Here is the second screen. I'd have a graph, and here would be the third screen. And so here I'll reduce it down to 3 screens. So they're 3 distinct ideas. You only have to do 2, but I thought I would just show you 3 very distinct, very different ideas First one had 5 screens, this one's got 5 screens, a little LCD. My second different design idea had 3 screens, different type of layout again, very different. And my third one has got 3 screens that would work on a phone. Now, it's all very good coming up with some detailed drawings like this and explaining what's going on, that's fine, but we also need to evaluate how that's going to work. So there's a bit of a guide as well. I've created a template to assess the different designs. So I've talked about what some of the considerations are, so what each different design would imply, and then I've created a table. So how the table works is I've identified all the functional requirements, and I could give each one a rating. I might sort of say, well, displays temperature. I might sort of say, well, that could be a 3. This could display it maybe not quite as good. This could display it again. So I could give each one a different score, or you could give each one a tick or a cross. So you do something to evaluate one design against another design. So therefore, after you do all of this and after you've given all of it the score, I'd also look at the non-functional requirements. So for instance, if one of my non-functional requirements is display footprint, the smaller screen, and footprint is how big it is, would actually get the highest mark. The 3.5 inch screen would probably get the lowest mark. If it's a consideration of power consumption, probably the smartphone might use the most power. Robustness, maybe this little screen is the most robust because it's the most rugged. Pages required, smartphone would be better than the little display screen, which I needed 5 screens for. And I could also talk about cost, how much it's going to cost to run each app as well, and then I can talk about how effective it is. So what's more usable, what's more readable, what's more complete. So all of these terms are also in your textbook. User interfaces, how familiar is one to another. I could give each one an overall rating, and then I'd have a basis to sort of say, well, I want to choose one actual design over another. Now, so what you could do with this activity, after you have a look at my design ideas, have a go at giving each one a score. You could either do this as a class activity, in other words, you could have a discussion amongst yourselves. You could all do it as a class activity, then it's done. You have to do one for your own though. I'm just trying to model how one thing could work. Or you could do it as an individual or group task. I'll leave that up to you, but I want this done by today. I want you to, and if you don't know what some of these terms are, it's your responsibility to go find out that from the textbook or to go find out from another resource that should be available to you. Okay, so good luck with that. That's the second task that I want you to do. I'll just review where this is on the website. This is making sure you download these final 2 documents, and what you're going to do here is you're going to look at the visual design and you're going to complete the evaluation criteria. And then I want you to actually nominate what design you would actually choose yourself. So what do you think is the best design? Is the best design the little LCD screen? Is the best design having a little 3.5 inch touchscreen? That would be a little standalone screen. Or is the best design some sort of app for a phone? Now you also have to take in consideration how much time you would have, and I've got some comments there about that. So this might be the sexiest design, it might be the coolest design, but it also might be the hardest to code. So maybe that's a consideration. So then you'd add all those up and you'd come to the final and the best solution. So I'd like to go through that. I'd like everyone to go through that process. So that's what's required here. So good luck today completing those tasks. Just remember as well that I want the class leaders, and you know who you are, I'd like you to come and have a talk to me at Monday at 8:30. So there's some tasks I want you to do for next Friday's lesson. And also, if you don't understand anything, if you haven't completed anything, I want to see you next Tuesday at 8:15 in Design Suite in the computer lab in DICE. Okay, and I'll be putting some survey questions up here about what you completed and how you completed it as well. So good luck today, doing all that. There's a bit of work there today, but you need to get your skates on. You need to make sure you're doing all this work. And I will see you